I'd like to call to order the February Ordinance Review Committee meeting. As we have no public comment tonight, everybody has been emailed the minutes from our last meeting, which was way back in November. Can I get somebody to give me a motion to approve the minutes?
John, motion to approve. I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Let's see. You got the agenda in front of you. Does anybody have any changes they'd like to make on the agenda?
No changes?
I'd like to just add one thing here, and we're going to just call it. Steve, what should we call it? We did this the other day. 0 before we put in there.
Yeah, it was 0 if you want to go above.
Under
parking.
ordinance review discussion, I want to put 0 and we're going to call that organization. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make the motion.
Steve,
Second.
second, Sarah, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's get to business here. Next item here, new council member appointment to the committee, which is Steve. Welcome, Steve. Thank you for.
Oh, I was right. You're my council member now too. You're
Well,
not new to
Wow.
the committee.
This is.
Yes, that's true. Technically, you're right. Technically, you're right.
Thanks.
Bruce has decided to take on more stormwater, so that's going to be taking up some more of his time. So Bruce is no longer going to be on the committee. I'd like to thank Bruce for everything he did and all of his help. He worked mainly on the firearm ordinance, and his changes were legendary. So thank you, Bruce. We appreciate your help there. And Steve, welcome aboard.
Thanks, guys.
Number 6, reappointment. The last meeting, I made a motion to extend both Sarah and John's term for 2 more years. So you guys are stuck with us for 2 more years. It was approved, so you're stuck with us. Welcome aboard again. All right, on to our review discussion. As I added in here, organization. As I was going through everything last night and setting up the agenda for tonight, going through the minutes of last, when I make the agenda, I just take the last meeting's agenda, then modify it for this agenda, just move on and on and on. And I keep on finding that there's really not much changes to the agenda because we keep going on over the same thing. And it doesn't feel like we're getting anywhere. So it's become obvious that the way that we're doing it now and doing quarterly meetings is just not working. I think we all kind of put everything off, and then it comes to the next meeting, say, oh, let's talk about this again, and then we go from there. And we really just aren't getting anything done. So with that being said, I'd like to try to change a few things here to see if we can't help out and still keep quarterly meetings. However, maybe putting ourselves on a schedule to help even things out so that we get, a timeline done. I've spoke with Sarah about her doing a review for us. So when we're done this meeting, after I get the video logged and loaded onto our YouTube channel, I'm going to email the link to Sarah. In the next couple of days, she's going to go over it and just give us a review and email to each one of us of what our responsibilities are and what we're expected to be done so that we can stay on top of it a little bit better. Now, with that being said, I would like to try to delegate some of this out a little bit better. And Lord knows that's not the best thing that I have ever done, delegating. If I did, I'd probably be have 10 auto repair shops if I was better at delegating, and I'm not. But I'm going to start working on that some, and this is the first step with it. What I would like to do, since we can sit here and talk all night long about all of this that we have done in the past, but we have nothing new to talk about, I don't think. Nobody has anything new to add to anything. So I'd like to separate this out with each one of these points that we have in front of us. I would like to separate it out for each one of us to have a duty and to get back. Each one of y'all email them to myself, and then I can work with each one of you on all the changes that need to be made in our ordinances that we've redone and our new ordinances. So with that being said, my idea here, and I'm open for discussion if anybody else wants to change anything. My idea here is, first off, on the parking ordinance, we need to make a few changes here because, as we've discussed in the past, we have no definition of a commercial vehicle. Now, we discussed that briefly in our last council meeting, which was almost 4 hours long, because we had to do 2 meetings in one. You missed a great one, Jim. We were here till about 11. And we discussed it briefly. The attorney recommends, when it comes to commercial vehicles, for us to amend our ordinance to simply say that have a definition of commercial vehicles as defined in chapter 20 of the North Carolina General Statute. So that needs to be added into it. The second thing that we're having a problem with, according to Cherie and the sheriff's deputy, is people are parking in more than one space, and we don't have anything in our ordinance to limit that. It's funny, I guess we just missed over that. There's nothing with that. Jim, you have anything to add to that, or you just?
I do, but we also missed something else.
Okay, what else we got?
So, looking at the ordinance, okay, section 6, which is the parking ordinance. We define street and highway, but we don't bring in alleyway into it.
Didn't we talk about that? There was something with alleys that we were very.
But we stayed away from it, but we call out the word alley.
Someone shouldn't be parking in
Defining
any
it.
alley, because they're not wildlife,
So
right?
we need to bring that in. I actually have some stuff for them.
Now, there is something with alleys as far as parking goes.
Or do we just need to put a separate definition for an alley?
Well, we have parking in alleyways. No person shall park, or we call out an alleyway,
Mhm.
but we don't define what an alleyway
Okay.
is. So we should add, an alleyway should just be, underneath streets/highway. We should just say including all streets/alley within the city limits.
Okay.
Now, we don't define city limits, but I don't really think we have to.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's
Yeah,
fine, it's
yeah.
definition in itself.
Yeah.
Within
So-
corporate limits of, like, we say that several times in the ordinance about within the corporate limits of the village of Lake Park, so.
So for the definition of a commercial vehicle, it's also in section H2, it also says, no commercial vehicle over 3/4 ton capacity shall be parked on either side of any residential street or alley so designated within the corporate limits of the village of Lake Park. We need to change that, then if we're gonna say a commercial vehicle, as it's defined in general statute, section 20. We have to take out over 3/4 of a ton capacity,
Okay.
because we're
Yeah.
defining it.
You don't want to, and then change the definition.
Changes the
Sure,
definition.
Sure, that makes sense.
And I'm good with doing that. I mean, I was riding in a vehicle registered as a commercial vehicle weighing at least 10,000 pounds or more to be used for business purposes as defined in general statute, section 20. That's what I was writing.
Okay, so that's the way we need to do that. So I would like to assign the parking part of this to Sarah, for you to fix that and redo that. Is that okay with you, Sarah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we got the parking, so Sarah will move on with the parking. The next part there is the motorcycles and mini bikes
Well, okay, parking is commercial vehicle as well as
the 2 parking spaces.
all the 2 parking spaces, okay.
Motorcycles and mini bikes. Now, that's gonna go into the skateboard, ordinance of
Mhm.
where they can and cannot be used. We discussed this a little bit last time. I think the 2 classifications that we need to ban from a sidewalk is 1, any vehicle propelled with a, internal combustion engine, and 2, any device that is designed or capable of traveling at speeds greater than 19 miles per hour, or 20 miles per hour or greater. Those 2 type of devices should be banned from being on sidewalks.
Why did that speed?
That seems to be the speed that low-speed vehicles are limited at. I talked about this at our last meeting. Lori has that scooter,
Right,
19 miles per hour. Doesn't matter if it's me and somebody else on it, Lori,
nothing note at night.
Anna, any of them, 19 miles per hour is as fast as it goes. So those are limited at that. I don't the worst thing and my biggest fear in this is that we inadvertently ban little kids from being able to ride their small little electrical devices and make it where they have to ride them in the road. I don't want that. I want to make sure that we stop motorbikes, these kids that are riding around that are tearing up parts of the park and around different, at Alden Park has gotten bad apparently. We haven't heard much of it lately, so I don't know if they've gone away, but you know, we got to stay on top of it.
But at Alden, is it on the sidewalk or is it just in the grassy area?
Well, they are doing it in the grassy area, which is against the Parks and Rec ordinance, but they're also riding on the
Sidewalk.
on sidewalks, and there's just as much as it's common sense, you can't do it. There's nothing we can do to stop them. So something with that. I did do a little bit of scanning. This goes back in probably December, and there are some other towns that have restrictions, and most of them do say internally combusted engines, propelled by internally combusted engines are banned from riding on sidewalks. I think we should add, while we're doing it, we should add the others, because these electrical vehicles
They're gonna go.
it's going to happen where they have, ones that are
So-
capable of the higher speeds that are dangerous.
Well, there's electric motorcycles out there I've seen that are pretty fast.
Mhm. There's little rocket things they have.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll have it all electric powered here soon. So that's my idea on that as far as the speed goes and with the electric. Any ideas on that or?
What about wheelchairs?
You can't stop. a
Well,
wheelchair
wheelchairs wouldn't be capable. I don't think the wheelchairs are capable of going over 19 miles per hour.
I don't know.
But you can't stop a wheelchair from going on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he's not trying to, I don't think.
No.
He's making sure we don't stop.
Oh, we don't stop,
We
we
don't
don't
stop.
We don't make a rule inadvertently to stop that, same as like I was
What
talking
about these
about.
little scooters you sit on and ride? Because I think some of them go really fast.
Yeah.
Well, then those scooters that you sit on and ride, we know there's the one kid, Michael, that has that one that goes pretty quick. And quite honestly, that thing shouldn't be on the sidewalk. Bob Hagley, he should have been on the sidewalk.
That's what I said. I wouldn't want to cut
He
those
should
people.
have been in his living room.
I wouldn't want to cut people like that out, right?
Yeah,
Riding on the sidewalk, riding in the road, get hit by a car or something.
And, I don't think that his device was capable of going over, that speed.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room and everybody in his family and everybody in this village knows he shouldn't have been trying to take that thing to Food Line. And he's taken it to Walmart a couple times. And of course, he's not anymore, and I hope he's doing better, but I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen
He's
anything.
doing good.
Good. That's good to hear. So I know him and Ann are in her prayers.
I see those scooters moving around once in a while. So it's like, yikes, is he back out riding again?
I think that he have to put up with
So,
Ann on that one.
We do have, God, I can't remember which town I got this from. It was on American Legal's publishing
Okay.
site. I forget which town this was. But they said, it shall be unlawful for any person to operate any motor vehicle as defined by general statute, section 20, including mini bikes on any sidewalk, parks, or other property owned by or under control of the town. It goes on and saying not to exclude other registered vehicles, but we don't have to worry about that. But it's all it says in mini bikes. It's all, I've been trying to pull out some different towns, different things around of what they were using and talking, and I couldn't find anything to totally define what we're got going on here.
Yes, you're right. And I looked into it too, and I didn't find anything. So we'll have to get as close as we can to it and have the attorney fine tune it.
Yeah,
That's just how that's gonna have to go. This one, I would like to assign this to Steve.
Sure.
Take the skateboard, et cetera ordinance and go ahead and see where you think that can be added, maybe
Okay.
look into other ordinances and then go from there on that.
Got it.
Next, social districting. Okay, we haven't gotten anywhere with this. And time is coming where it'd be nice to have. We can always just, vote in our times when we're gonna need the trucks and all, but, it's something we should start working on and getting a little bit farther with. Charlotte just started their social district in the NODA, or excuse me, not the NODA, the Plaza Midwood area. They've started one there. Maybe we should take a field trip. Check it out.
See how it goes.
Might not be a bad idea, but going forward with that, to get the ideas and get going with that and get moving with that, I'd like to assign that to Jim.
Okay,
Is that good with you?
it's fine with me.
Okay, so we can start working on that. Any ideas of what we should throw at Jim right now that we've not talked about before with social districting?
Well, he's already got a map, so that should be done.
That's a big part of it. That's exactly right.
I've sent you a bare bones
Mhm.
beginning of something too.
I got that. I also have, the attorney sent me a few weeks ago, a few different things from the School of Government and what was used, I think with Hickory and Gastonia I'm working on.
Okay.
I don't know that they're gonna be our model places, but I'll forward that email to you
Mhm.
of some other towns' information that the attorney sent me for that.
Okay,
We good?
yeah. All right,
Inspections of golf carts. At our last council meeting, we had the new head of the contract deputies. I can't remember if he was a sergeant or was captain. He was sergeant.
I can't remember.
Or lieutenant.
Lieutenant,
Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say
neither of them.
lieutenant, right?
Lieutenant Mayhew, came and spoke with us. I asked him if everybody remembers, there was some talk about how Indian Trail wished that they would not have had the deputies be the inspectors of the carts. And their reasoning behind it was once the deputy approves it, and if there's something wrong or something with it, the whole response was, well, you approved it. Well, we all talked about it at council and we asked Lieutenant Mayhew and he was either way with it. It became that the council decided under consensus that we might as well just go with it the way we have been doing it with the deputies. Now, we've only had 4 carts. Or 3 carts really, because there's one that's kind of in limbo because she's not worried about it right now because they're not using it till it warms up. But 4 carts right now, but I do anticipate us picking up quite a few more of them from what I've heard, and people have emailed me with questions about it once it warms up, so we'll get more of it. But it seems like the deputy can do a fine job on it, and we decided, at council, it was decided that we'll just go with it. If it becomes a problem, then we'll visit it again. So we don't have to change anything on the golf cart ordinance right now. The next thing is nuisance ordinance. This we took a 360 on. It was decided in council by the majority members that we don't need a nuisance ordinance. It's not needed at this time. It's, there's not a problem with it. My point behind the nuisance ordinance was the fact that there was a lot of little things that we were all hoping would get changed with the CCRs that did not pass. We didn't have enough participation in it. Not to turn to say that everything in the CCRs is something that we could govern as a town, but there were a few things that we could get in with that. And what can be done with that was decided that we just don't need the ordinance. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's going to stay the same and that everything will stay the same. There are several things that can be added into a few of our different ordinances to help. Our personal property ordinance, the parking ordinance, different things like that. John was very instrumental when we were looking into this of compiling what we thought was a decent nuisance ordinance or a nuisance ordinance from another municipality, from Wesley Chapel. And John pretty much pointed out to us that if you look between the UDO, our ordinances, and the new CCNRs, everything is covered.
Yeah.
But again, the new CCNRs didn't pass, so there's not. So John, I would like to see if you could look into our existing ordinances and see if maybe there's some things in there that we might want to address to tighten up to help some of the problems. And one of the things that I will send out to everybody is an email that I was sent by a resident of her neighbor's house. And matter of fact, all this council got it, of her neighbor's house with her dogs and the mess that's there and what's going on. I am sure if she was at our meeting, she would have stood up and had some words with everybody about whether we needed one or not. Now, we've talked about this. We're not going to make an ordinance for just one person. But if we see if there's a big enough issue with it, it should be something we should look into.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems of council too was how do you actually enforce it?
Correct. And if we go all into it, it could become a difficulty to do that. Now, one of the things that was brought up in council, by the mayor, I believe, is that simply the violations that we do have, whether it's UDO or whatever, 95% of the time, they are all taken care of by a quick letter. They're resolved by a letter that said, hey, look, you might not know this. This is what you're doing wrong. You can't do this and it needs to be done differently. And they do. And it's taken care of. The other 5% of the time it's not. And that would be something that we'd have to visit. But yes, that was the big concern with that. Now, one of the things Bruce went back and forth with, it was kind of contradictory of everything, but his point was that in itself. But what he was saying is that the HOA can't enforce anything. And we all know the whole deal with the HOA of how everything's so vague that they have a hard time with it. Our attorney seemed to think that that was odd. And I do know the HOA has hired a new attorney that is more willing to work with some of their existing. But still, if it goes to a court of law, it's between taking somebody's house and a rule that's really vague, which way do you think it's gonna go? You know?
Same way with the town though, right?
Right, it's the same with the town, but at least we have a mechanism to try to do something to clean up. Like I said, 90% of the time, it's just a letter and people saying, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't do that, didn't realize it was that way, and it's taken care of.
Yeah, I think that's more of like zoning violations and things like that, they get paid quick at, but some of these things I think that would be added, they wouldn't be as quick as that.
Possible. But
I have a question, talking about the nuisance ordinance, and I had some question come to me, and I said, there's nothing that can be done. On Sages Ave, there is a older Volvo that has been parked and not moved now for over a month. It had a flat tire, the tire's been pumped up. I said, so, you know, I said, but it hasn't moved. But there's nothing we can do about it. It's registered. It's
Has tags on it?
has tags on it. Everything is fine. It has, you know, it hasn't been moved in over a month. Like I said, a tire went down and in 2 days it was pumped back up. So it belongs to somebody. Don't know who. Nobody in that area knows who it belongs to.
Public street or private?
Public street.
Okay.
Park, you know, within the lines of a parking spot, everything, there's nothing wrong with it. I said, there's nothing you can do. So if it had flat tires, yeah, we could do something about there because it's not being maintained properly, but it's
the
not.
biggest thing is the license plate's expired, but
Yeah, it's
apparently
not.
the licenses are
No,
good.
it's all fully registered, everything. There's nothing you can do about it.
Not to backtrack, Sarah, could you make a note for on the parking ordinance? If I remember correctly, Steve, maybe you could help me with this. At our last meeting, did Sheree tell us that the parking ordinance, we somehow omitted the valid license plate?
I think she said something like that.
She said something about it. I forgot all about it till you just said that car park there.
There's something about the valid license plate.
We need to look into that to see, because it used to be that it had to have a valid license plate. We might have somehow missed that on the parking ordinance.
Sarah, I will say to you to look at Kings Mountain and Murphy for some ideas on how to write a couple of different things out there. And I know at Kings Mountain has something about, you know, a vehicle can't be left on public street for more than 48 hours. And they have some other stuff that you can, how you can tow it, and all this, other things that go on to it. But maybe that's, you can look at some things for that.
That's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. You know, if somebody parked a car for more than 48 hours
48 hours.
on a public road.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
I don't know if there's something about Kings Mountain that makes it because it's got the state.
Besides the fact of that it's an older Volvo that may not look that good, is it really harming anything?
Not having any,
Just, yeah,
it's just there, nobody knows who owns it. And it's,
if it had a flat tire and it's pumped up, you would think somebody owns it.
Yeah.
We do have something, it says, prohibited in certain locations, and it talks about the flat tires, one or more flat tires covered by a tarp, casing or sheet, or has affixed to the vehicle, any registration plate that is expired, altered, disguised, illegal, or illegible, or concealed.
I thought so.
So,
I-
we don't have anything that says that it's properly tagged, just that it's can't have improper tags. If that makes sense. It's just.
I'll talk with Sheree and get some more clarification about that.
I remember saying that though.
I literally forgot all about it till Jim just started talking about that car. It was, like I said, that was a 4-hour meeting, so a few things.
Yes.
kind
Like I
of.
said, there's no,
It's not stolen,
no, nothing.
okay, then we'll leave
I
it.
mean, there was someone, I did see it moving, driving by, I wanna say someone in their twenties, a kid in his twenties. One time in the past year, but it's been sitting there for now for over a month.
Maybe they just don't go a lot of places.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's, but it's fully registered, it's being maintained. It's all,
Yeah, I don't know, there's a whole lot we can do about that.
there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, what, I
No,
don't understand what the problem would be with it then.
no, it's just
It's not blocking traffic, it's not.
not blocking
trucks
traffic,
getting
it's just there.
Emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in a parking spot within its defined space, everything is by the book, by it, nothing can be done.
Now, what do we have in the parking ordinance about leaving a certain amount of space for vehicles to travel? Do we know what the number is?
I would say it's 12 feet.
12
I
feet?
think so. I think that's what I saw.
Do you think is your situation there, does he leave 12 feet?
I think it's more than 12 feet, it's right at around 12 feet.
So this guy's got it down, huh?
They got it down within 30 feet, they got.
Yeah, within 30 feet of any stop sign, control signal, sidewalk.
Yeah, or
Other
under
signs
such
to the
conditions to
roadway.
leave available less than 12 feet of the width of the roadway for the free movement of vehicular traffic.
Yeah, so that's. John said there's a situation at Conifer and Alton that,
Let me know what night you wanna hook up to and pull it up a little bit closer. We'll pull it closer.
But now it was.
move the stop sign back.
There was
Tell
one
Bruce.
truck, there's a white truck, and I noticed a couple days ago, it's a white truck and a car. And then yesterday I noticed it's a white truck and a car and another car.
Wow.
So they're lining up along and they're not parking close to the curb. They're away from the curb. So it's three
Well,
cars
it's-
lined up on that little side street.
You know, that's always the thing, and you see it a lot in some of our narrower streets, where you see one person park here and another person park there. And one of them has caused it to be less than 12 foot of travel
Yeah.
space, but which one?
Yeah.
You know, who has the
Some-
right?
you're right, on some of these
You know?
narrow streets, it creates a problem.
Yeah, I've been down some, and I was like, wow, this is tight. And I'd hate for a fire truck to go through.
Teresa and I
Although a
say
lot
the
of
same
times
thing.
these spaces are a lot bigger than they appear.
Yeah.
I have a place in the front of my shop, which, you know, you guys have seen, Sarah, I don't think you've ever seen it, you guys. in
Not
front of
much
my
space
building.
there.
And I have people that have a hard time pulling their car through there, and the FedEx and UPS guy drive their truck straight on through. Okay, I mean, you know, but they're professional drivers and they know their trucks, but you know, people think their car doesn't fit, and those big brown and FedEx trucks fit through there just fine, so.
Yeah, we have a section that says, you know, parking not to obstruct traffic, but it says leaving at least 12 feet,
Mhm,
you know.
Yeah.
You gotta have 12 feet,
yeah,
that's it, otherwise you're fine.
So these emergency vehicles and garbage trucks can get through.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just,
we could always ask one of our deputies to nicely go knock on the gentleman's door and ask him if he could just would mind parking just a little bit closer to the curb.
Why are they parking there anyway? This just started like a month ago. Somebody decided they didn't want to park in their driveway, or they got too many cars. They'll park on the street. It's a cul-de-sac, it's a little tiny cul-de-sac.
That's usually where the problems are, in the cul-de-sac, and they get tighter, and it's tighter to maneuver around that, so.
yeah, we do say, in here that, where is it? Within the circular portion of any cul-de-sac, but we don't define, we're not bringing that as you enter the cul-de-sac or leave the cul-de-sac, you know, within so many feet of that.
So
circular
the circular,
portion,
which is
saying,
understandable.
Yeah.
Lead into it, and then it goes, I guess.
Unfortunately, I think in a perfect world, we'd have a solution to both what you were talking about and what you were talking about. But I don't know that there's any more restriction we can put onto it to stop that. Either way, if emergency vehicles can pass,
Yeah,
There's
That's-
nothing that
yeah.
can be done.
and I don't think you could put a time limit on it because you've got some of the townhomes up there, you know, where might be
People
an
don't know.
elderly person comes in, parks on Monday, then go out on Wednesday, so 48 hours pass, right?
yeah, I think, yeah, the time limit would be hard to do, because I parked in the driveway, but, you know, I parked my car on Saturday or Friday when I got home, and I didn't move it again until Monday morning. And if I had to park on the street, it would have been there for that long, so. And I have times too where, you know, I've got a very long driveway, but, you know, I've got to get out and somebody else, you know, so they park it on the street. But then it gets narrow, so.
Yeah, it's hard to, especially if there's parking space and it's, everything's fine with our ordinance, it's hard to say too much about it.
I guess, you know, I look at it, and I see a potential problem, but there's 5 houses on that cul-de-sac. Nobody's complaining to anybody, so
It's probably not a problem then.
it's not a problem. Maybe they
Do you
all,
travel down that cul-de-sac, or do you see it when you're coming out of your?
I come out of Alden onto Conifer. It's right there, I see it every day. And I feel sorry for all those people in that cul-de-sac, but it's during Christmas, they all have the same, like, you know, they get together as a group, so they all know each other, they drink together, you know, the White Lightning, you saw that. And so it's a cohesive group rather, and I guess if one wants to do it, or 3 of them are doing it, they're happy. It looks
Yeah,
strange to me.
unless they bubble it up to somebody, it might not be an issue to them.
On Rogers Place, Rogers Street.
After
That
it's,
was a problem, because he used to park his truck with the trailer right up next to the stop sign,
Mhm.
and you couldn't get an emergency vehicle
There
in
was,
there.
and it was also hard to get to see
Yeah,
as you were turning in or out of there.
yeah, I talked to him, and he's now parked it way back, so, because of emergency vehicles.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's the key, is the emergency vehicles.
Absolutely.
There or not.
Yeah, we've got to be able to get that through there, and if an emergency vehicle can get through, a car can get through, so.
We do have a lot of narrow streets.
We do, and that's, you know, it poses problems, but I tell you, I've been through some other neighborhoods that have a lot narrower streets.
Well, a lot of your neighborhoods are worse than ours.
Mhm.
Not calling out the Bonterra over there, that's the big Bonterra. Has some very narrow streets.
I get claustrophobic driving through that neighborhood.
You go through there, John?
I'm going to go.
We'll go Sunday afternoon ride.
Jim, you ever been through?
Yeah.
Montero?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't like it at all. Before all that stuff either. But.
I got bad memories of the place too, so.
You moved the map.
The map was right here,
Yeah. well,
and it's out there. I thought we were gonna put it here, but I'm not sure how that happened. So, okay, anything else we want to add to what we're working with and what we're going forward with? Timeline on getting these done. I don't want to put everybody on a clock, but I seem to work better when we have, okay, get this done. I tell you what, before we talk about that, let me jump to the next part here of our next meeting, is April 15th. Does that pose a problem for anybody? Steve? I think of you first off on that.
It could, I don't know yet.
I was gonna say, is that spring break week?
To me, that is National File Your Tax Extension Day. To
Oh,
Steve, being
Same
an
thing.
accountant.
Same thing.
Everybody, so I don't know if that poses a problem for anybody else, if we need to move that date because of that.
I don't know until that day comes. I need to be done before that day. What day is that on this year?
Monday.
What if it's a holiday this year, is it?
You know, it seems like it's been for the last several years, they say that our region is the 16th or the 17th because of the way that it's fallen. It jumped up another day because of leap year. It was Saturday last year and it jumped over
It's not a
Sunday.
holiday. Or it's not a federal holiday.
I'm traveling for a week in April and I don't remember what that week is.
let's keep that in mind, but I would like to say, could we get the next, Jim, you got the calendar right there, when's our next council meeting, is it
March 11th,
March 11th? So what's the
March
Tuesday?
12th, excuse me.
March 12th,
March
okay, so
12th.
fifth,
Tuesday, March 12th.
okay, so the week before, what's the Monday before that is,
March 12th is the 4th.
okay, the 4th, so say Tuesday. Can everybody get a draft to me of what they're working on by the 5th of March? Does that give enough time to get some, at least ideas? And I'd like to have a few things that I could put together to talk with about at the next council meeting. That sound reasonable?
Yeah, that's fine with me and social districting, but do we want to be able to, you want to bounce something off with people, send emails, hey, this is what we're looking at here, there, and just so.
We can do a group on all of them, and that way, if anybody has anything, I'll be happy to help anybody with any of it.
So, question,
Mhm.
if April 15th isn't gonna work, is there a
It
reason why
should.
we can't do March?
No, there's not.
Okay,
We could do March if we need to, or we could do.
I was
May.
just saying, I mean, just,
March 18th, I will not be in town.
okay,
I'm hoping that we can start working at this at a little bit different pace and working a little bit better outside of the meeting, where our meetings aren't going to be as important.
Mhm.
And it's packed full of our discussion. We can just do most of it as we go through it, and then we can just do our formalities in the meeting from here on, out. So with that being said, if April 15th is not good, then,
It might be perfectly fine.
we have to have, actually, you know what, March wouldn't work because that wouldn't be part of the first quarter. So we have to have April, May, or June, we have to have a meeting. We got our February meeting this quarter, so we have to have April, May, or June. So if April does not work, if for some reason April turns out where it doesn't work, it's not gonna be good for us, we'll go ahead and move it to May. We'll move the meeting to May.
Is that spring break week?
I don't know, I didn't even know. Sorry.
Going to Florida?
No, I ain't got money for that. No, I was gonna ask you too, because my alternator went. But, yeah. Talk about a fun project. It died in the ATM line.
Today?
No. Like a few weeks ago.
You're not driving for a couple of weeks?
No, it's fixed, it's
Okay.
done, but it's the biggest pain in the tush.
Kind of car.
Ford Edge, don't buy one,
Mm-hmm.
won't ever
Just
buy
did one
another
a few
Ford.
weeks ago, yes, that's a
We'll
pain.
never touch another Ford. I learned also when I go to buy a car to look where the battery is under the hood.
There's a bunch of them that aren't that way. It's crazy nowadays.
And look to see if there's more than one.
Okay, yeah, a lot of them are that way, especially with the start-stop on the cars now, they have that auxiliary battery.
Mhm.
All right, so, I think we've discussed all the business. Any comments?
No, and I can go back and review, I just wanna make sure that I have all my notes. Real quick, I'll take care of parking, and I'm going to, for commercial vehicle, just basically reference it to the definition in general statute.
Yeah.
Chapter 20, add in alleyway to the streets, highways, alleyways, just add that kind of into the title of the definition. And then list parking into marked spots under the prohibited items. And then for the commercial vehicles, remove that 3/4 ton piece.
Yeah, since we're gonna have our definition ourselves on that, we don't need that in there any longer.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Steve is gonna add classifications for the mini bikes, motorcycles, that things for under 20 miles per hour, essentially. Jim is gonna start looking at social districting. We've already got the map, but he's gonna start organizing that and writing that, and then John is going to review nuisance ordinances and just make sure if there's anything we need to add to our current ordinances.
And since I over delegated, as in I didn't leave myself anything, I probably should work with Jim a little bit, since we're starting that from scratch.
Yeah.
I'll kind of partner up with you and work on that one.
Sure. Do we have all the ordinances in a Word document or something? Somebody can send it?
It's on the website.
You can edit those.
It's on a PDF that you can copy and paste off of. It's actually a Word document PDF, not one of the scanned PDFs that you can't copy and paste, so. So it's all right there. If you do need anything in a Word document, I have it, but, and so does Shuri, but you should just be able to pull it right off that, copy and paste off of that.
Now, parking is only for public streets.
Correct. Nothing for the
I can
house.
take a semi, we call them a bobcat, or bobtail, and park it in my front yard. And the town is oblivious to it.
According to our ordinances, the UDO might have something to say about that.
UDO don't like it, but UDO has no power. I mean, not the UDO, you're talking
See-
HOA.
I would have a
There's a
feeling,
guy that parks his big semis in his front yard,
In his front yard or in the drive?
in a driveway. The big one,
well, that would be a commercial vehicle, would it not?
but it's in the
It's in
driveway.
his drive,
His
it's on the
driveway.
street. Commercial vehicles on the
Yeah.
street.
He's not parking it on public street, so.
I know that the CCNRs does prohibit that, but. I mean, to me, that is cut and dry. A commercial vehicle, but
With the C, with the,
in the CCNR, I
Yes.
mean, like you said, a lot of them are vague.
Yeah.
But what's the address of that? And I'll,
It's on Alden, where Alden meets, where they added those bushes we didn't think they would grow. What's, Bobby and Alden, right there in the corner.
where are they?
There's a house there, and he's a truck driver, and I followed him in one day, and I watched him back again.
It's the next
He was
street.
only there like a couple days ago.
It's the
a
next
month,
street over from Bobby,
But he parks it there.
the other side of Bobby's.
all right, I'll look into it and see and ask, my representative with the HOA.
Where the monolith. Okay, right on that corner there was a house. It was, David's house, next to David. Across the street from that, there was a house that was kind of run down. In its backyard, which is really a side, because you can see it from the street. past
After the
monolith,
circle.
The circle, you could see this, truck, flooring. It said flooring on the side, and there's a big panel truck. Yeah, but they're parked there for, now it's gone, I haven't seen it for a couple weeks, but it's been there for months. And,
It's close to you, do you see that?
Yeah, that's Nelson's old house.
Okay.
There's something going on with that. I mean, it was bought at auction, and they've been renovating, and then there's a bunch of different people living in there. It's
I
coming.
was gonna say, it looked like they were doing some work, and all of a sudden it came to a halt.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on inside there, to be honest with you. There's also a white van that parks, again, it's legal. It's the same situation. Pull out, you have to. One vehicle only can go by, drive through there. So if someone's coming off the rotary, you're waiting, no matter what. You can't pull out because the van's in the way. You have to, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's all
we have
legal.
an accident, somebody's gonna complain. Because
Yeah, but
they pulled out in
it's,
front of somebody coming out.
I mean, well, actually, probably you can't because it's 30 feet from an intersection. And they got the alleyways and intersections, so maybe that's not,
I don't think we park on the street in the alley though.
he's not parking on the street, he's parking on Lake Park Road.
Okay.
But the alley's right there, and he's close to the alley, he's
On your side.
maybe 10 feet to the alley, to the alley.
Yeah.
And he's 30 feet from the monolith. I don't know, you know, it sits there, but there's other, yeah, that panel van is there, sometimes in the driveway, sometimes it's out on the driveway, it's sitting there. Then it disappears and then it comes back, and there's other
This is,
trucks
this is a
out of there.
commercial vehicle?
It's a commercial vehicle.
It has commercial tags on
I don't know, well, it's got the writing on the side.
it? Yeah, but the scope's got right on the side. That means-
It doesn't matter, it's gonna be
It's a
registered.
panel truck, and I think they
Yeah.
are all
I
panel
don't
trucks.
know, they might not
I
be.
guess-
No, if it's registered, if it's registered personal, it's not a commercial vehicle, it's not for
Interesting.
business
Yeah,
use.
Okay.
doesn't matter what it says on there, now if it's registered personal and it has a gross
Look at
vehicle
this,
weight,
look at the statute he was talking about.
regardless, it's still the
Yeah.
same. But yeah, on chapter 20 defines all that perfectly.
Okay.
I think people be surprised they read it, what's commercial vehicle, what's not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of why Shree's asked us to do this, because she's having people call her and saying, hey, my next door neighbor has a truck with an HVAC name on it. Well, you know.
It's a pickup truck, it's not commercial.
And there's even changes of it, if you use it for work, and it moves every 24 hours, there's restrictions on that too, that,
Right.
you can't stop somebody from working. And there's been some tow trucks that people have complained about, that people take home with them and they're on call.
Whatever happened with the truck that was he a garden? It was parked across from the apartments on, the road goes by, some place down there. He was parking in two spots and he wanted his spot.
Also,
He had a trailer. And he said, why, this is my spot, but it wasn't, there are no defined spots. There was an issue. You were part of that. You knew about it.
There was somebody that was upset about the parking in front of his
That's it.
Townhouse.
his townhome. He had a truck.
Yeah,
and
that,
Yeah,
He would get home late at night and the parking spot in front of his house was taken and he wanted to be able to park wherever he wanted.
we're gonna be able to cover that. Do we need to?
or his truck was longer,
That's-
I think his truck was longer than the parking space too.
I believe that's already been taken care of and our current and past ordinances. I mean, he acknowledged, if we're talking about the same thing, he even acknowledged the fact that he knew he wasn't supposed to park there, but
Yeah.
he just wanted to. He thought he should be able to since he's him. I don't know how to define it or to say it any more than that. He came in and told us that he knew he wasn't supposed to, or basically knew that there was a law and he was doing it, but he thought it was stupid and he should be allowed to do what he wanted to do. It was really, right, that's about what he said, isn't it?
I don't remember,
There's a lot of commotion there. There was
yeah.
excitement, yeah.
a lot of
that
excitement
was
that
at
night.
the townhomes, right?
Yeah,
But he wasn't he parking, if I'm thinking it's the same person, he was parking over this, taking up two spots because he didn't.
Well, he was parking in his spot and outside of his spot,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
where
think
he was
it's-
close enough
I mean, I
to.
don't think he's done it lately, so I don't think it's an
Yeah,
issue anymore.
I think that problem's kind of situated.
Yeah.
Cooler heads have prevailed on that. Him and one of the council members that got at it, kissed and made up. And
so we don't
things have
have,
been relatively quiet with it as far as I know, so I guess it's all.
Well, I haven't seen him park down there in a while, either like that, so. He might have got a different job or parking his truck somewhere else now.
That's,
but he was renting, if I remember correctly.
I believe his girlfriend owned or rented. Him himself was not,
He wasn't on anything. It
but
was-
that's here nor there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
I was
lawfully
saying he might
registered
not even be
vehicle.
there any longer as well.
So that's a possibility too. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
heard or seen anything from him, so that's a possibility. But it hadn't been an issue. That's all I do know. That's it.
Mhm.
So
we
hopefully.
don't have to
it's
add
all-
anything to the ordinance.
That would be parking in more than one spot.
Yeah, that's parking within lines. You got there's some wording in that thing that I sent you about.
If in fact he's doing, I mean, the problem he had there was parking within 30 feet of the intersection. He
That
was-
big old truck you got, you put on my house, you'd be parking more than one spot. Call the cops to tell you.
I know, there was,
See, we're doing this whole thing to stop John from visiting you?
Maybe so, I don't know.
Mine won't fit in your one spot.
That's what I'm saying.
8-foot bed, dual cab,
So how do we address that?
250. Won't fit.
It's an F-250, 4-door, long bed.
How long are the parking spaces?
I don't know, but it wouldn't fit there. It's just 8 plus whatever it is.
I know there's one of the ordinance in. that
When
they
he's got a
said
report, one
19
sit there.
feet
I think it
and
should be
7
tagged as a
feet.
commercial vehicle and you can't park it here anymore now, so.
But it's over the limit, but if it's, again, if it's, from what I read this today, if, even though it's meets a definition, the vehicle itself meets the definition of a commercial vehicle. If it's registered personal, it's not considered a commercial vehicle,
Even in section 20?
even section 20.
Okay.
That's what I was read
I don't know
today.
why that-
I may have interpreted that wrong.
Yeah,
I actually wouldn't think that would be considered a commercial vehicle.
I think that's,
But what my definition was coming up is a commercial vehicle had to be used for business purposes. And if it's registered personal, it's not NCDOT does not consider it a commercial vehicle because it's personal use. It's not for business.
Mhm.
Once you add in the business part that people are using it to make money off of, then it becomes a complete commercial.
You making money off yours?
Sometimes.
I was gonna say, you'd be pretty hard to find somebody. that doesn't-
Well, yeah, that's the way I
You'd
would
be
read it,
legal
but
for
I
the
would-
commercial vehicle, but you wouldn't be legal because you take more than one spot.
Yeah.
But then again, what's gonna happen?
Again, we write the ordinances to have the rules, and I would think that any reasonable person that would see a truck that just doesn't fit in the space.
Understand?
I would think you would kind of look the other way on that. Now, somebody parks a car in two spaces because they don't want to get door dinged,
Parks on the line.
or wants to
Yeah.
park sideways so it's easier for them to get in and out, or something of that nature, that's a different story. Some people, apparently there's a few people in the townhome area over close to where we were talking about, and I think it's on the other side, what we commonly refer to the Miss Dee homes.
Yeah.
I think there's somebody right there in that area that doesn't want somebody parking in front of their house. So they're parking in the two spaces that are kind of in the middle of the two spaces that are in front of their house. So that they can not have somebody park in front of their house.
And that's what we're trying to fix, not
Yes,
where
correct.
somebody hangs over in two spaces. On the right, that's Sarah.
Apparently, every once in a while, somebody will park in front of their house and leave that vehicle there for an extended period of time, like you're saying. I mean,
Right. I have one question. It comes from Miss D parking of her school buses, which are commercial vehicles.
Mhm.
At times, there's one that backs up and then encroaches over to the sidewalk, so people have to walk around that. That's in violation. No one, and one person complained to me. That was it. No one else has ever complained, but that is something that. Should we ever say anything to her at all, or just leave? it
Most
to
of the time they pull
someone
far
else?
enough in, you don't have an issue.
I'm sorry?
Most of the time they're far enough in, you don't have an issue.
Right, it was one or more times that it was, and I went out there and it was right onto it, that you had to walk around the side.
I've never seen it that way. I don't know. I do know Miss Dee Dee has a good relationship with us, so if it is an
Yeah,
issue, I'm sure she'll address it properly.
Like I said, one person, that was it, no. I went there once and it was that way, but.
And if I knew how to pronounce her name properly, I would say it. I hate referring to her as Miss Dee Dee, but I don't know how to pronounce her name properly, so.
Emilio's daughter.
All right. If we don't have anything else to discuss, can I get a motion to adjourn?
That's so.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight.